Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be upon everyone who is here, those who are attending today or tonight's lecture on sex, drugs and rock and roll. Before I begin my lecture, I would like to thank the organizers, the KQZ, Khwajatul Zaman organization, the brothers who have invited myself under the banner of the University of Nottingham Islamic Society, the ISO, on this week, the Discovering Islam Week. I do have an invite in London as well. I didn't know it was actually Discovering Islam Week this week. As a Muslim and a public speaker, every week's a Discovering Islam Week for myself, as we are always going and spreading the message of Islam wherever we are. So people are always discovering. Khair, I would like to thank them and all the organizers for inviting myself to come and speak to yourselves on this subject and issue. It's a contemporary issue, it's a social issue, therefore I will try to keep it as neutral as possible. I do have a habit of mentioning a lot of Arabic texts and words, and I do apologize for those who are here that don't understand the Arabic language very well about certain words that I have said that maybe during the talk or lecture that I wasn't able to translate it for yourselves. I do apologize for that in advance, because I know if I do make the intention now that I will translate, then once we're in the groove of speaking, then it goes out the window and I completely forget and nobody dares to stop and say, well, what does that mean, sir? So therefore, I do apologize in advance. I will try my utmost to keep it as neutral as possible and in a language that is universal and understood by everyone, and that is the English language. My talk's not going to be too long, around 45 minutes to an hour. Thereafter we'll have a Q&A, question and answer session. Those of you who want to pose any questions, you can text this number. I think it was on here, I think it's gone off now. There'll be a number on screen that you can text your questions through to, and then inshallah, if I do have the knowledge to answer the question, I will do so. If I have no knowledge to answer, I will say, I don't know. Facebook message me and I will get back to you. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa afdalu salati wa atammu tasneem. Ala Sayyidina wa Nabiyyina wa Shafi'ina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد فلا تتبع الهوى فيضلك عن سبيل الله. وقال الله تعالى في مكان آخر في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد قد أفلح من زكاها وقد خاب من دساها. قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد معدن الجود والكرم وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا سيدي يا رحمة للعالمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. After praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and sending salutations, peace and blessings upon the best of creation, the beloved of Allah Almighty, the coolness to our eyes, the purpose of our lives, the one whom Allah Almighty called and spoke to and unveiled His majesty to, the one who brought purpose to this world and into our lives, no doubt, none other than the Messenger of Allah, Sayyidina Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam. May Allah Almighty continue to shower peace and blessings upon him. The title of the topic is Sex, Drugs and Rock and Roll. Now my talk's not going to be about Mick Jagger. I don't intend my talk to be about cocaine or heroin. I don't intend my talk to be about other activities. The aim of my talk is just to remind ourselves of the reality of this life. And being a Muslim and a Muslim speaker, therefore those who are sat here that are not Muslim will know that the majority of my talk will refer to the hereafter, death, preparation of death, and the current state that we find ourselves in. We as Muslims, and even generally humanity itself, find ourselves in a very, very difficult and hard circumstance and state. We look at the world today and how things are. Myself, I am fourth generation or third generation of Muslim in this country. And I'm going back as far as the 1950s and 60s. I know Muslims did come to this country as early as the late 18th century. However, when my grandfather came to this country, he came to this country as an economical migrant. He was in Pakistan, born and bred. He wanted to earn. There was poverty there. Therefore, he got on the boat and came over to this country. He came here to work, to earn, and then to provide for his family back home. Seeing the ease and how easy life was in this country and what it offered, all the incentives, house, clean water, there was more ease here than there was there. They decided that instead of staying here as economical migrants, they would stay here permanently. So as they would earn, they would work 18-hour shifts in the factories, migrants working. They would save, provide for home, back in Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, even in the African countries as well. And then, when things got easy, they invited their family over. My father came over, and then I came along as a third generation, fourth generation. When Muslims came to this country in the late 50s and 60s, they were so absorbed and so deep into working and earning money that they didn't have time for distraction. In a day you have 24 hours. 18 hours they spent in work. Few hours they would sleep and eat. And then they would be back to work again. This is how it was then. Over time, things have changed. Things have advanced. The day and age that we live in, look how advanced technology has got. Technology has advanced so much, that I can sit here in University of Nottingham and the entire world can watch me via Ustream, online videoing, and so on and so forth. That's how advanced it has got. This is the iPhone 5. When the first phone was made, probably the size of my arm, they would hold it like that. The battery was huge. Over time, and that only had one purpose, to call from A to B. There was no camera, no map, no music, no photos, nothing. Just A to B. That's all it was. Just a phone that I dialed the number in and the other side received. Over time, in the last 20 years, technology has advanced so much that we get to this slim iPhone 5. Probably the best phone on the market, smartphone. And what does it give you? It gives you the whole world in your hand. you want to know, I'll slide to unlock, put my password in, go into Safari, type into Safari, there you go. The World Wide Web, the internet, is in my hand. And it's amazing that the iPhone 5 is the size of my hand. That's how big it is. Huge. How much advancement technology has done. Cars in the past, they were good. Now, they're phenomenal. You get supercars. Even in relation to football, when the first generation of Muslims came here, that time it was Sir Bobby Moore's time. 1966 World Cup. Now I'm a big fan of football. I can do an entire talk on the history of football, how it started in Brazil, and so, and how it came to or starting in England. They said the English invented football, but the Brazilians perfected football. I was talking to my brother about football, and we were just analysing how English homegrown footballers have no technical ability whatsoever. We were talking about Andrea Pirlo, who's an Italian footballer, and how majestic he is on the football. Now, I'm a footballer, I know this is a religious talk, I don't want to go too much into football. I was just looking and I was saying to him, I go, look, you know Pirlo, Xavi, Iniesta, Xabi Alonso, these Spanish, Italian, French footballers they have so much elegance and class about the way they play. The English footballers, the English love a footballer who will run his energy to the ground. Just run. Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard, all they do is run. Box to box. That's what I do. I mean, Gerrard's probably the best midfielder they've got. Then Paul Scholes, he comes into that category of technical, gifted footballers. 1966, you had Sir Bobby Moore, so on and so forth. Football in that day and age was nothing. It was just a game. Now, it's a business, it's a franchise. It's all about money now in football. Where there's money, there's good footballers. The point I'm making is, whether it's a mobile phone, whether it's a car, whether it's music, back then you had the Beatles. Now, then you have the Spice Girls. Now, I don't know, what's the best pop band doing? One Direction. I don't know. Growing up, we heard of the Beatles, Mick Jagger, Paul McCartney, and God knows what else. Now it's, then there was a Tupac Biggie era. After Tupac and Biggie, they both rap, East v West, East Coast versus West Coast. And that's it. It's advanced. Music is an industry, huge industry. The biggest industry in the world is what? What's the biggest industry in the world? It's the gaming industry. You know, Call of Duty, FIFA 11, FIFA 12, FIFA 13. It's huge, massive. The biggest industry in the world, bigger than music, bigger than football, all of these. It's the gaming industry. Whether it's on the PC, the laptop, PlayStation 3, Xbox, whether it's Nintendo Wii, whether it's on the iPhone. It's all about games now. People want to play games. People sit and on the way to work and play Temple. They just flick it. That's it. That's all they do. The point I'm making is things have advanced so much. When our elders came to this country, drugs is an industry. How big was it? It was always big. But it's come more to the forefront now. The more or less opportunity to work, the more people go into drugs and think, yeah, you know what, easy life. Make easy money. Become a shutter on the street. That's when it begins to think. All these things we've seen that time has advanced, technology has advanced to the stage we are at now. And as Muslims, being third and fourth generation, 2 generations ago, a Muslim lad walking with a Muslim girl hand in hand was something that was never seen. It was avoided. People wouldn't dare do it. Muslim drug dealers, you'd never hear of it. You would never hear of Muslims or see Muslims listening to music as they are today. You wouldn't. Today, man, where do you begin? Hand in hand, they walk into a cinema, walk into a town centre. They will listen to music openly. It is what, you see, you can't study if the music isn't on. It makes you concentrate. This is what's happening now. And we have got so lost in this dunya, so lost, that if you look around us, look at the state we are in. Even on and I don't want to get into too political, even the Muslim countries now, look at it. Syria, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iraq. Look at these Muslim countries, what's happening there. There is no deen left inside people. Religion now is just a name on our face. It's just a lot of bear, and he must be religious because he's got a beard. He's got to be religious. She's wearing a scarf. How can she not be religious if she's wearing a scarf? We find that we have become so lost in the dunya. We have so much ease at our hand. We have become so distracted by things that the purpose for why we were sent to this world, we have forgotten. As Muslims, what is our purpose? What is the purpose of a Muslim life? Allah Almighty in the glorious Quran mentioned, الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم أيكم أحسن عملا. Allah Almighty in the Quran said, it is He who has created death and life. Why? Why did He create death and life? الذي خلق الموت والحياة ليبلوكم, so He may test you. Test you in what regards? أيكم أحسن عملا. Who amongst you has the best action? أحسن عملا. The best deed. Who will perform the most good deeds? This is why Allah Almighty sent him to this world. To see that I will give him a choice. He can do good, he can do bad. He has the choice. Man has been given a freedom of choice and will from God Almighty to choose whether he does right or wrong. God has given him this choice. Look, I have this right now. I can choose to spill it, or to hold it, or to put it back down. God has given me this choice to do that. Allah Almighty has given us choices. And I always describe this as a football match. As a footballer playing in the team, I can kick the ball into the net and score a goal, or I can choose to kick it off the pitch, or if I'm feeling really doolally, I can choose to dribble all the way to my own goal and score an own goal. That's my choice. Our life is like this football. We are the ones here, that's our life. We can choose what to do with our life with the permission of Allah Almighty. We can choose to be gangsters, we can choose to be bad boys. If Allah Almighty allows, we can choose to be good, bad. Allah has given us this choice. God Almighty has given. What do we choose at this moment in time? And as humans, it's not as easy as just a choice. Do you think the purpose of the devil's creation, the devil was created to test man? See, it would be easy life if there was no devil, if there was no ego, there was no desire, there was no lust. Life would be very easy. I would only be doing good upon good. That's the test of life. God has sent you to this world and said, look, I'm going to give him everything. Everything will be at his disposal. And it's the training he gets from his parents, the upbringing, the society that he hangs around in, the boys he chills with. Who do we hang around with? Who do we chill with? Our crowds. At this age, it's all about company. Whether it's a girl or whether it's a boy. It's all about who we are with. They're doing it. Yeah, you know what, I'm not going to join. And we get so easily influenced, distracted, that we begin to forget our life purpose. From a childhood, cartoons. When the child doesn't listen, they put cartoons on. They say, put him in front of a screen. And he sits in front of a television screen, that's it. He'll be chewing on his dummy, and he'll be looking at the screen. You're calling once, he doesn't respond. You're calling twice. Says hello, he's still watching. You call him. You've got to physically drag him away from the screen. From childhood, that one, all the way throughout his life, he's being tested. Being tested at all times, in different ways, shapes and forms. And Allah writes in the Quran, in another verse, illustrating our purpose. He said, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. And I did not create jinn or man, except that they may worship. Worship who? God Almighty. Now if everyone was to worship Allah, then who would become a doctor? If everyone devoted their life to worshiping God, that said, I'm going to become devout and ascetic, I'm not going to do nothing, just worship Allah. Who's going to become a doctor? Who's going to be a cleaner? Who's going to be this? Everyone would be worshippers. So what does this tell us? This tells us that yes, we worship Allah Almighty when He has commanded us. But everything we do in our life can become worship as well. How? If our intention is for the sake of God Almighty. If you are studying in university for the sake of Allah, that becomes intention which is for worship. Allah will be pleased with him. Why? Because his intention is what? Solely for the pleasure of Allah Almighty. And if we analyze our life, our day, even right now, why are we sat here? Whose pleasure